Hey everyone, I just wanted to share with you kind of my why for getting into the fitness and health industry. So basically, my deal is that I grew up in a very typical Cuban American family in South Florida, and we eat a lot of foods that are not maybe the greatest for you, even though they're like super delicious. It's the best food. And so, growing up eating that food and being in a community where having a big dinner and having a lot of food is very normal, that's how you show your love to people. But kind of similar to like an Italian family. That's that was the mentality that I grew up with. So as I got older and I got a car and I had friends that were driving, high school age, I basically, my gosh, I was eating fast food probably 5 to 6 times a week, maybe multiple times a day. And I'm not quite sure where all that money came from, but anyways, but nobody was none the wiser because I was a dancer in high school. So I would have a cookie or two for lunch, and right after school, I'd hop in my friend's car and we'd go to McDonald's. I'd have grab 2 or 3 cheeseburgers. I'd go back to school. I'd have practice for 2 hours, and then I'd go dance at the basketball game. And there it went, and when you're 17 and 18 years old and you have that metabolism, you don't really notice. But then when I went to college, those eating habits, those horrible eating habits, didn't change at all. I just continued on that path. But what did change was that I wasn't exercising at all. I was at UF and go Gators, and we had free access to 2 or 3 really great gyms, and I one of them was right on the bus line between my apartment and school, and I would drive by every day and I'd be like, oh, I should go. I need to get myself together. And I never did. I never had that. I never took the initiative to work out. So the horrible eating habits continued, the working out stopped, and you put two and two together, and I gained a lot of weight. Then when I was done with college and I was teaching, it was my second year teaching, I was probably sitting between 125 and 130. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm only 4'9", so that's a lot of weight on a really small frame. I had a friend that was doing a program, and she was giving me some tips on what her program was like, and this is a mail order program. And so basically I decided that I was going to eat healthy, but I still didn't want to work out. I didn't have time for that. It was my second year teaching and I was busy, and excuse, right? So I lost about 30 pounds. I was down to 90 pounds, but I was eating about 800 calories a day, if that. It was just really, really unhealthy the way that I did it. So right after I lost that weight and I was down to 90 pounds, and in my mind I'm like, oh, 90 pounds, that's what I weighed in high school, no problem, right? But yeah, it was not good. I got pregnant. And so then I got pregnant with my little man, and my God, I ate everything in sight. I gained about 45 pounds with my son, and I think when I had him I was weighing in at about 145, 148, somewhere around there. That's a lot of weight. So of course they had, you drop those 20 pounds pretty quickly. But then I was right back to where I was sitting at about 120, 125. And, I was hungry all the time. So I was just eating, but instead of taking the initiative of like, okay, I need to lose some weight, all I did was complain about losing weight and just didn't do anything about it. And this cycle continued. It was, okay, when Tyler starts eating solid food, I'll stop eating fast food. Then it was, okay, when Tyler starts eating big boy food, I'll stop because I don't want him to eat that, right? So I had these goals and these aspirations for my son to not eat unhealthy and to have better eating habits, but I wasn't doing it myself. And on top of that, I was married to somebody who really could care less, was perfectly fine being overweight. So I was really on my own with that, and I really struggled. And it was, when Tyler's a year old, when Tyler's 2, and it was always this mile marker that I was waiting to happen in order for me to kickstart myself and to do something about this weight, because I was pretty miserable with myself. Outwardly everything was fine. It was happy. It was smiling, and I was going to work, and I love my son. And you put up your smiley pictures, but at the end of the night, when I'd put on clothes, or when I would take off clothes to go to bed, it was just awful, and I was so sad, and it was just not a really good place to be at all. But I still didn't do anything about it. And then I moved to Las Vegas, away from all my family and friends, and I was kind of by myself for all intents and purposes, and kind of put a lot of things under the microscope. My marriage, my weight, my relationship with my son, and everything just kind of became this magnifying glass of like, I have to do something has to change. So in May of last year, I got a personal trainer because I was like, I'm done, and I don't want to lose the weight in an unhealthy way again, because I knew that I would lose the weight and then I would just eat my way right back to where I was, because for God's sakes, I was starving myself for 2 months. So I got a personal trainer. I started working out. He taught me what I need to eat, that food is not the enemy. Food is fuel. You need it to fuel your workouts. And I was kind of like, oh my God, I have to eat all this food 6 times a day. And I was freaking out, I think that's a very common thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm trying to lose weight and I have to eat all this stuff. But the difference is that I wasn't eating McDonald's 3 times a day. I was eating the right foods, 6 times a day. And I very quickly, with that and with working out with him, lost a lot of weight. I got right back down to about 110. But the most important part of that was I lost a lot of body fat, and so I was really happy with myself. I was like, yes, I did this correctly. I did this the right way. I changed the habits for my son. Marriage didn't work out, but what do that happens. And then in August, I met my fantastic boyfriend who lives a healthy lifestyle. So that was a lot easier. But I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit with what I was eating. And in my mind, I was like, well, I'm still working out, so it'll balance out. But it didn't. And I gained some of the weight back, but I never stopped that working out. I still made an effort to go to the gym. It was hard sometimes, being a single mom and working full time, and doing all of those things. And teachers, you don't leave your job at your job. You know what I mean? It kind of comes home with you and you're thinking about it all the time. So, that's kind of what happened. So earlier, a couple months ago, I was like, okay, I'm really gonna do this, and not only am I gonna do this, but I really want to help other people, because I know I'm not the only one that has essentially starved herself to lose weight. I know I'm not the only one that has struggled with her weight, and a lot of people think, oh my gosh, seriously, you are not that overweight, but it's not even about the weight. It's just about how awful I felt about myself and the way that I looked. And it was like I put on a shirt that fit me a week ago and now it doesn't fit. It's like, what in the world? What am I doing to myself? So, I kind of went on this journey with myself, and I started really putting my fitness and the way that I eat and the way that I do things out into the world, because it helps keep me accountable too, and I want people to feel how great I feel now. Yeah, physically I look a lot better. That's a huge bonus, but it's a lot of it really is mostly it's on the inside. It's how I've changed mentally, how I think about myself, my own self-worth, how I want to live for my son. It's not saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna live a healthy lifestyle, and my son is eating carrots and ranch and I'm having donut for a snack. It doesn't work that way. As parents, as teachers, as leaders in our churches, as whoever, somebody is always watching you. And if you don't lead by example, they're going to follow what you're modeling, what you're showing. And it wasn't an easy process for me to get to that point, and I really am extremely passionate about helping other people get to that point. I know what it's like to not have time. I know what it's like to drive by a McDonald's and just say, oh well, I'll have the egg white delight instead. But the reality is that, yeah, it's a lot less calories, but there's still a lot of fat in it. It's just not a great choice. And by the way, I have a great recipe for one of those. at home. So, my why is really about helping other people not just change physically, but mentally, and find that self worth within themselves. And then also, definitely to, my son, like he drives everything that I do, and he is the reason why I live the way that I live and why I do certain things. I want him to not have to want for anything. Doesn't mean he'll get everything, but to not have to want for things. And he is the driving force, so I hope that those of you that took the time to watch this video find it a little inspirational and see that, even though you could be really thin and really miserable, you can be pretty heavy and be really miserable. And it doesn't really matter. It's not about the physical weight. It's about that mentality that you have inside. And I know exactly what that is. And I would love to help people. And so that's my why. Thanks for listening.